A lot of people grieve the loss of a spouse. That's
Yes,
normal.
ma'am.
What's not normal or natural is to turn to an 11-year-old girl who happens to be your daughter to satisfy your sexual needs.
Yes, ma'am.
We are about to watch the parole hearing of a cockroach, a monster, who, when his wife, his daughter's mother, passed away, he immediately began to do the unthinkable to his 11-year-old daughter. We're going to listen to this parole hearing and unpack it at the end.
POC numbers 440-422. You are classified as a first felony offender. You currently serve in a 30-year sentence with 3 counts of aggravated incest. You were sentenced in June of 2001 in Point-Coupee. The parole eligibility date's June 24th, 2010. You don't earn good time, and your full-term date's June 28th, 2030. Mr. David, is that information correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, would you answer Ms. Jackson?
Good afternoon, Mr. David. I just want to talk to you a little bit.
Yes,
How
ma'am.
old are you, Mr. David?
I just made 61, ma'am.
All
My
right,
birthday was March 24th, 1961.
thank you. And how much of, you have a 30-year sentence. How much of the sentence have you actually served?
June would be 22 years.
22 or 23? Kind of broke up a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere around 22 or 23 years, right at it.
We'll just put down 22 plus.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, Mr. David, this is a really, really difficult case.
Yes, ma'am.
The victim in this case is your biological daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
And you started engaging in sexual intercourse with her at age 11. Could you explain to us, Mr. David, how you allowed that to happen? Why you would do that to any child, but especially your own child? Explain to us what was going on and what would cause you to commit this kind of crime.
Yes, ma'am. I had a bunch of kids. My wife died, and everything just went into uproar, ma'am. I don't know. I guess I was insanity, man. I don't know. I don't remember. I'm sorry for what I did.
Not there, Mr. David. Listen to me.
And I guess I fell on her for support, ma'am. That's all I can remember, ma'am.
Yeah, but this was how long after your wife died?
About a year.
No, that's well, sooner than that.
It's right, almost right at a year, somewhere like that. I don't remember, man.
Well, tell me why don't you remember?
I guess I was grieving over my wife, 70. I don't know, man. I was taking care of my mama. My mama was 70-something years old. I don't know. I can't explain it myself. I pray about it every night, man.
And Mr. David, you completed sex offender treatment, did you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I did.
What did you learn from sex offender treatment that might explain why you would do this to this little girl?
I don't know, man. Sorry. I'm sorry for my daughter, man. I really feel sorry for her. I really am. I wish I could change it, but I can't.
But what I'm trying to find out is, well, let me ask you this. How do you think this is impacted by?
Ma'am,
How do you think your having sex with her impacted your daughter's life? Give me some ways that you think her life has been
I know it ruined her life and made it terrible for her. I know it messed everything up for her. Her goal and her plans in life. I really feel sorry for that, man.
Well, do you have a history of drug or alcohol abuse?
No, ma'am. I never did drugs or alcohol.
So you were clear-headed in the sense that you weren't under the influence of any alcohol or drugs.
No, ma'am. I went all through this with my wife and stuff. I don't know. I guess I lost it. I don't know.
You know, a lot of people grieve the loss of a spouse. That's normal. What's not normal or natural is to turn to an 11-year-old girl who happens to be your daughter to satisfy your sexual needs.
Yes, ma'am. I'm terribly sorry, ma'am. I really am for what I've done, ma'am. I really am sorry. I wish I could change it, but I can't.
I agree with you on that. You know, you've got a lot of opposition from the district attorney, the sheriff, you know, the victim. Are you aware that she's had her name changed legally because she no longer wants to be identified with you or your last name?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you know that?
Somebody in the family told me.
Well, tell me what your job is at the prison.
I'm an OPEC tutor in an OPEC shop, work on a small engine and lawn equipment.
What other programs have you taken besides, I see you took Cage Your Rage, sex offender treatment, nurturing parenting, and inside out dad. Have you taken any other programs?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. That was about it. Besides church discipleship programs, faith-based.
And what made you take the parenting and the inside out dad class?
I'm glad I took it because I have a lot of more understanding about it, ma'am. Give me a lot more to think on, you know. And they offered it to me, and I wanted to take it. Anything to better myself and better what I was going through.
So I don't see any family support for you today. Do you have any brothers or sisters or any living relatives besides the daughter?
I got one brother and two sisters left, ma'am. And
Where are they?
live out toward New Roads. They at home. I got one brother that's bad sick. He's epileptic. My last brother and I think my two sisters, one's in Baton Rouge and the other one's in New Roads. I think they both work or they have jobs. She just lost her son. He had shot himself, I believe, with my baby sister.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, tell me what your transition plan. If you were to get out one day, where would you go? Where would you live? What kind of work would you do to support yourself?
I want to go to my son's house in Irvinville for a little while. I got money to buy my own place. I'm waiting to get out of jail to buy me a new trailer and a truck. I got money put on the side, and I do mechanic work on the streets. Always did mechanic work. And I commercial fish, catfish and crawfish. I did that with my father.
Is your son married?
Yes, ma'am.
Does he have children?
Yes, ma'am. But I think they are pretty much all grown up. that I know of.
And you think his wife would be comfortable having you live in her home?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you know that?
Cause they all want me out of jail, and I talk. The whole reason they even come visit me because for the pandemic and stuff, and but they do want me to come home.
He said, I didn't notice any letters from any family members, and I don't see anyone here on the call. And I know that family support is really crucial to someone being able to make a successful transition from prison back into Warren, what can you tell us about Mr. David?
Mr. David he's been at Hunt for a number of years, since 2011. He is an OPEC tutor, with fooling with our outdoor power equipment, small engines, lawnmowers, and different things. He's actually a talented mechanic. He is a trustee and has been for a number of years. He keeps, to himself when he's not working. He's back in the dorm, and I have nothing negative to say. My record does show that he has 0 write-ups since his incarceration. And that's all I have, Ms. Jackson.
Mr. David, is there a statement you'd like to handle before we vote?
Ma'am, I couldn't. It's cutting
Is there-
out.
Would you like to make a statement?
Would you like to make a statement before they vote?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry for what I've done, and I'm willing to make everything to make it back right the best I can, ma'am. Whatever I have to do or whatever y'all want me to do, I'm willing to do it all. I'm sorry, and that's, I can't change it, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we're prepared to vote. We'll start with Ms. Jackson.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. David, you've stayed out of trouble. You've taken sex offender treatment, but I'm not sure that you got a lot out of the treatment, that you haven't been able to tell us. When you keep saying, well, I don't know why I did it, I don't know why I did it, that kind of worries me, really kind of worries me. But the thing that worries me the most is you're not having anybody here with you today telling us if they're willing to take you in, willing to provide for you what you need, that they would be comfortable around you. I don't know what kind of children have access to their homes. And so I'm just not comfortable with your transition plan. I wouldn't feel comfortable letting you out unless there was some really strong support around you, and I don't see that today. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I don't see it today. You have opposition from law enforcement, and although the victim didn't come out to say one way or the other what she would like to have happen, she did write a letter that explains just how much trauma she has experienced in her life. And so today my vote is going to be to deny because of opposition and because of lack of a good transition plan. I want you to keep working, and then the next time you come up for a hearing, you need to be surrounded by people who are going to be there to help you. All right?
Yes, ma'am.
Back to you.
Thank you. Mr. Carroll, you will be, in your full term date in 2030, you will be 69 years of age.
Yes, ma'am.
you have some life ahead of you. So begin to take in account what Mrs. Jackson said and begin to, work on that transition plan. But I concur, my vote is to deny it today, because for the reasons that's already been stated on the record.
Yes, ma'am.
Real insight as to, what you did and why you did it so bad.
Yes, ma'am.
So for no other reason is, so I won't do it again because I know why I did it. You didn't tell us that. That's concerning. Best
Yes,
wishes
ma'am.
to you, sir.
All right, Mr. David, I do concur with my colleagues. My vote today is to deny your parole for the reasons that's already been stated. So good luck to you, sir. Today,
All right.
your
Thank
Gordon, concludes our business at your facility. We're gonna.
It's just insane, right? A father does this to his own biological 11-year-old daughter. He gets a 30-year sentence. He comes up for parole after sitting in prison all this time, and his answer is, I don't know. My wife passed away, and I needed someone to lean on. It's there are people that should never get out. There are people that don't belong amongst us. It's nice to see that no one was actually there in support, but he was claiming that there were people with kids that would take him in, and it's his full term date. He's only got 6 years more left, and as Miss Wise pointed out, he'll be 69 when he gets out. That's a long time left to offend. We're talking about multiple decades potentially. How scary is that? No, I don't have any information on this case. It's that, these type of offenses, they don't make the news. They just sign the deal. 30 years, that's quite a lot for Louisiana. We've seen much less. So I'm happy it was a Miss Jackson case. So it's always more frustrating when it's a different case and they just kind of say, oh, that's great. Oh, you're doing great. That's wonderful. But this is part of why we do this, just so we can see for ourselves that evil does exist. There are people that have absolutely no right to live free, no right to live amongst us. And this is definitely one of those cases. And it is scary to think that to do a crime like that he will get out when he's 69 in just 6 years from now. Now, this hearing took place in 2022. It's 2024. By the time I'm doing this recording, it's possible we'll see him again for parole sometime soon. So I'll post it if he does. I don't know what else to say. It's like I get a little bit jaded and even dull to it. It's so used to seeing these hearings. It's terrifying. The poor girl, she loses her mother. And within less than a year, she has her father abusing her in the worst possible way. You can't make it up. We'll move to the next hearing.
Why didn't you have an urge to send that kind of photograph to anybody, whether they were 13 or 35? Why did you have an urge to send those kinds of photographs to anybody? Have you even thought about that?
Yes, ma'am. I think about it every day, and I realize that I made a mistake.
I know, well, I'm not answering my question. Why do you think you had the urge to do that?
We are about to watch the parole hearing of a man who already absconded and had his parole revocated after being caught sending illicit messages and photos to an underage girl. Let's jump in and I'll unpack it at the end.
I called you, Master Record, Mr. Parker. You are a first felony offender. Your offense is indecent behavior with a juvenile. You were sentenced on February 28, 2018, and you were revoked on February 26, 2021. Originally, you received a 5-year sentence at hard labor. Your parole date is May 4th, 2022. You're not eligible for good time, and your full term date is September 5th, 2025. Does all this information sound correct?
Yes, sir.
Would the Wendell Rogers introduce yourself and tell me exactly how you would like to proceed as far as speaking or making the statement to your client? Mr. Rogers, you are muted. Would you please unmute?
Yes, let me start over. Yeah, just on behalf of our firm, we'd like to say that we have been dealing with the Foggy family for some time. We find his family to be extremely supportive, as you can see by the sheer number of people that has turned out for this hearing this morning. REVON has been very easy for us to work with. His family is constantly in contact, constantly giving us words of encouragement and support concerning him, and not just about his incarceration, but about what the future holds if he's allowed to go home. And we could, I consider myself to be here as a family friend as much as anything else. And I really believe that this young man deserves the opportunity to, I guess, to reboot or restart his life again. And that's what we basically have to share with you this morning.
I reserve a minute or two at the end if you'd like to make a brief statement at the end.
I will reserve that. I don't know that I will, but I will reserve that opportunity.
Okay. Mr. Foggy, your case has been assigned to Mrs. Jackson. Would you please answer Mrs. Jackson's question?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Foggy. My name is Bonnie Jackson. I've been assigned your case. I've reviewed it, and I will start the questioning this morning for the board. You're 23 years old, Mr. Foggy.
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been incarcerated on this charge?
A year and 8 months.
Okay. You were originally sentenced in February of 2018, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you ended up getting revoked on February 26, 2001, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
But a probation warrant had been issued for you back in 2018 for absconding, which means not being in contact with your probation officer, not making your whereabouts known, not contacting them. And so the same year that you were sentenced, which was February 28, 2018, by October of 2018, you had absconded supervision, and the probation office got a warrant for you for being an absconder, and you were not arrested on that warrant until February 12, 2021. And then on February 26th of 2021, your probation was revoked. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Please explain to the board why you absconded, why you weren't reporting, why it was necessary to get a warrant for your arrest, and what was going on between February of 2018 when you were sentenced and February 12th when you were arrested on the warrant. So tell me, why weren't you reporting to your probation officer?
Well, truth be told, it was hard for me dealing with the charge that I have. I'm not saying that what I did was right because it wasn't right. It was selfish and immature, but I was trying, and between that time and me not reporting, I know I should have been reporting, but I wasn't. I was doing it my way, and I should have did it the right way. I was working, staying out of trouble and working at a gig, and I feel like I could have did that still while being on probation, but I didn't.
Tell me, why didn't you? Did you ever, I assume that after you were sentenced, you went out to probation and parole and you were, they did an intake on you and you signed up for probation. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
You were assigned a probation officer. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you stop reporting to probation and parole? Or did you report after that?
I reported after that. They brought me back here because I had changed the address without letting them know, and
Well, what's that mean?
ma'am.
You got sentenced in February of 18. By October of 18, they had to get a warrant for you. So you'd only been on probation for about 8 months, and they already had to get a warrant for you because you were unavailable. They didn't know where you were. You weren't contacting them, and they couldn't locate you. So when did you stop being in contact with your probation officer?
The month of October.
No, you had already done that because they got the warrant in October. So why did you stop reporting?
I ain't have nowhere to stay. That's why I started reporting. I knew I was gonna have to end up going back to jail. That's why I started reporting.
Mr. Claude, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different family members who are here today to support you. So please don't sit there and tell me that you didn't have anywhere to stay. Were you on the street? Were you sleeping under a bridge? Were you living in a car? What do you mean you didn't have anywhere to live?
What I mean when I say I ain't have nowhere to live, some of my family members have kids. I can't be around kids. So it's hard to stay somewhere when people have kids. That's what I mean when I say I didn't have anywhere to stay. Yes, I have family members, but they have children, and they don't allow me to stay around children.
Who stayed with Miss Artenia Claudine?
I wasn't talking to my mom around the time.
Well, again, but that was an option. Your mom was out there. I'm assuming there weren't any young children in her household. Did you even report to your probation officer and say, look, I'm having trouble finding somewhere to live because there are kids in the household? Did you even report that to your probation officer?
Yes, ma'am, I did plenty of times.
And what was the response?
He told me I had to find somewhere. I had to find another address.
Okay. Where were you working?
I was at the time when I was staying, I was working at the Monroe warehouse at the time of me being on probation.
How long did you work there?
I can say 4 or 5 months.
Okay. Is that the only place you work?
Yes, ma'am.
So again, physically, where were you living and how were you supporting yourself?
I was staying in rooms. I was working at gigs, making cash money, and I was staying in rooms.
In a motel room?
Yes, ma'am.
So I see that you have taken risk management 1 and 2. Is that sex offender treatment?
Ma'am, that was just the class that they put me in, risk management and anger management.
Oh, but did the risk management deal with sex offenders?
So, ma'am, it dealt with substance abuse and every other area that you need to work on as far as your attitude and your mindset and being humble.
All right, so you've never taken any sex offender treatment?
I didn't hear.
Well, anywhere.
Well, I was going to a class when I was out on probation.
Right, because the judge would have ordered you to complete sex offender treatment.
Yes,
How
ma'am.
many classes did you attend?
It was every Saturday, so I'm saying I would say all of them up until I start reporting.
Which was when?
Around the time before October.
Okay, so maybe 2 or 3 months worth.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm be honest today, okay? Because they continue to go to sex offender treatment, your probation officer could have located you there, but he or she wasn't able to. So that's why they ended up getting a warrant to arrest you for absconding through supervision. So going forward, besides risk management, 1 and 2, what else have you taken?
I've taken anger management too.
Was that part of risk management or was that separate?
It's separate.
Okay. I'm not gonna get too much into the details of the offense, Mr. Foggy, but this case involves you sending some inappropriate photographs to a 13-year-old girl. And according to the victim's mother, you have been advised by her not to contact her daughter and that her daughter was in fact 13 years old. So why did you do what you did?
For one, I didn't know that the girl was 13, 14, whatever the age she was. But, you know, in that time, I was being selfish. I was being.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, why didn't you have an urge to send that kind of photograph to anybody, whether they were 13 or 35? Why did you have an urge to send those kinds of photographs to anybody? Have you even thought about that?
Yes, ma'am. I think about it every day. And I realized that I made a mistake.
I know, well, I'm not answering my question. Why do you think you had the urge to do that?
It wasn't an urge. I was thinking about myself. I wasn't thinking that I was thinking about myself. I was thinking about what I wanted.
Let me ask you, what were you getting out of sending her those photographs?
Ma'am?
What were you getting out of sending her a photograph of a male penis? What was in it for you?
Nothing. I didn't get nothing out of it.
But obviously you did because you did it on multiple occasions. I'm not trying to embarrass you, Mr. Foggy, but you know, the fact that you're sending those kinds of pictures, you don't send them unless you're getting something out of sending them.
Excuse me, I'm gonna correct you. I only sent one picture. I didn't send multiple pictures. I don't do that. I don't want you to look at me like I'm that type of person when I'm not. I made a mistake. That's what I did. I made a mistake. I don't go out there doing it to young girls. That's not me. I made a mistake that I truly regret. I regret every part of it.
Foggy, that's exactly what you did do. Let me find, hold on, let me find. From the victim's mother, she stated that she just lost it when she found out about the pictures and texts plural. She indicated she was very angry and wrong if he would do that. What else would he do to some young girls? Let me see. Statement. Yeah, Mr. Foggy, the only information that we have about you is what's before us today. I mean, I agree, I don't know you, but I know what you were convicted of. And, you know, I have a right to have concerns about the behavior and whether or not this is a pattern that's developed or is developing and may be a problem in the future. Because I have a responsibility, not just to you, but to the public as well. And so if these questions offend you, that's not my intention to offend you. These questions are designed to give me a comfort level with Mr. Foggy to be comfortable that he's not going to do this again. All right?
Yes, ma'am.
So when you first got arrested, how long did you stay in jail before you made bond? Do you remember just about how long?
I was held without bond, but I stayed in jail 2 months, 2 months and a half.
But, and so now you've been in prison about 18 months, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So what have you learned about yourself, or what have you learned at all over these last 18 months?
What I've learned is that I can't go out in the world how I used to be thinking that it's all about me, when it's not all about me. I know every action has a consequence behind it if you make bad decisions. And to tell you the truth, I'm not trying to make those bad decisions no more. I'm not trying to put my life like that no more. I don't want you all to look at me like that's the type of lifestyle that I live when it's not. I'm really a good person. I just made a mistake that I'll never make again. I've learned a lot about myself. I've humbled myself more, you know. I'm working on myself, and I'm working to try to get my CDLs when I get free, and I just want to live life. I know I'm still young. I'm not nothing but 23. I just want to live life and just move on. That's not something.
Were you a college student when this happened?
Yes, ma'am.
Where were you attending college?
I was going to Delta.
Oh, Delta College, what were you studying?
Business and technology.
And how long had you been enrolled in Delta College?
Not that long. I was just starting, then I got picked up.
You weren't really in the program yet.
No, ma'am.
So what's your transition plan if you were to be successful today? What's your transition plan? Where would you live? I mean, because it seems like housing might still be a problem for you. So where would you live?
My plan was to move to Dallas, Texas, where I have.
Well, you don't get to just pick up and move to Dallas, Texas. You've got to have approval and there's got to be checks in place. And Texas has to agree to take you. So you don't get to just decide you're going to pick up and move to Texas. If you will, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but if you were to walk out today, you have to have somewhere to sleep tonight. So my question is, where would you live if you were to get out of jail today?
I don't really have an answer to that question, ma'am. I don't.
And I, again, see, those are the things we have to take into consideration because you're going to have somewhere to live. And probation and parole has got to check out that residence before you can be released. And so I don't know that you all have thought through everything that's involved in your being released in the future, but particularly early. But you can't go anywhere until they have an approved residence plan and you don't have a place. And that's kind of a big deal. Okay? You also have, because you're a sex offender, you have to have an address where you can register as a sex offender. So there's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts that have to be in place before you can even think about getting released. Did you know that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, well, Ms. Wilson, that's all I need.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman.
No question.
Mr. Farley,
Yes, sir.
are you aware that you have pending charges and you have a detainer
Yes, sir.
in Franklin Parish?
Yes, sir, I am.
First of all, we let Ms. Kenya Fall speak, your mother. Each individual has 2 to 3 minutes to make a statement in support of Mr. Fall. So Kenya?
Yes, sir. Okay, I just want to say that, as a mother, that I don't want to see my son locked up. And I know you hear this a lot of times. I know that he is a changed person, that, he has humbled himself enough to know that what he did was wrong. I think at the time he was just young and dumb, basically. I haven't raised him to be or to be in that situation or to be that type of person. But the older he has gotten, he has proven to me that he can be a person in society, living his life. He's a very good hard worker. When he did come to Dallas, he didn't have anywhere to stay, but he did drop by and check on me because I'm disabled. He did drop by and check on me every day. He called every day, to let me know that he was okay. He never got into any more trouble. And I'm just asking the board just to take in consideration that he is a changed person now.
Thank you, Ms. Kenya. Let's hear from your sister, Miss Precious Foggy.
Yes, do I have to turn my camera on?
You do not.
Okay, but going off based off what my mother was saying, yes, I believe Trayvon is a changed man. Since he been in, we have been talking a lot, especially on our past. We really have came from a hard past, and stuff like that can make children do something that they wouldn't do. And that's how I see it as it was a big mistake in what in him doing that. And I see that he finally realized that there was a big mistake. In us talking, I see that he do have plans for his life to go further and actually forget about the things that he has done in the past to better himself as a man. And I feel as if it would be a right decision to let him free, even though not knowing he don't have anywhere to stay. I'm 100% sure he would have somewhere to stay if he was to get out today. Because him sitting in there, the longer he's sitting there, the longer he's sad because he really want to get out and enjoy his life. He don't want that big boulder sitting over his head 24/7. And that's why sometimes when people ask him why was he incarcerated, he do not want to say. Because that is a big embarrassment, especially for a young age. And now he was like how old he was back then, probably 16, 17. Now he's 23 now. He has grown up into a man that he's seen himself he wanted to be. And I see that now too. And I feel as if that would be a good decision to let him free. And that's all I have to say about it.
Thank you.
Hold on.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. We're going to hear from your cousin now, Miss April Woods Miles. Oh, she has lost connection with the Zoom, so we're going to hear from Mr. Leroy Johnson, a friend.
Good morning.
Morning.
I just want to say, on Trey, I'm speaking for Trayvon. I realize good people sometimes make bad choices, and I want you to know that he's sorry for the things he have done. And as far as me, I want to offer him a place to stay so that he can be rehabilitated. And I also am a business owner, and I want to be able to offer him also a job so that he can work. And I want to be a supporter to him in every way I can for him getting his treatments done. And if it means me to take him and help him or be a mentor towards him being successful.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. We appreciate it. And before you offer up your home, please check with probation and parole and see if you meet the requirements of the house a sex offender, okay?
Yes, sir.
That's it. They got back to everybody. Mr. Foggy, Ms. April Wood Miles was on this Zoom call, and she lost connection, but she was here supporting you. And also you have your aunt, Patience Amphy, and your uncle, who's not going to speak, but they're here in support of you, okay?
Sir.
Now, Mr. Foggy, would you like to make a brief statement telling us why you think we should vote to release you early?
Yes, sir, I would like to. I feel like y'all should consider releasing me early because I have learned my lesson. And I understand now that I was selfish, immature, and inconsiderate back when I was younger. And I realized that I made a mistake that I'll never make again, and that I want to move forward with my life as being a young man, and also that I have something to prove to you guys, the Department of Corrections, the parole panel, and my family that I am a changed person. I changed. I want to do different. I want to move on with my life and just make the best of my life in the right way.
Mr. Rogers, would you like a few seconds to make a closing statement? You muted, Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers, you're muted.
I'm coming. That's what happens to 70-year-olds and computers. I just want to say this, that probably, in my view, the weakest point for Trayvon is his release in Louisiana. And I know that is a huge mountain to overcome. And I would just hope that somehow, some way, whether that would be halfway house situation or whatever, that the board might take that into consideration and help him on a short-term basis, put him in a facility where he could at least start the process of going to live with family in Dallas. Thank the board for your time, and we appreciate your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Is the panel ready to vote?
Oh, yes, Mr. Rogers.
Mrs. Jackson.
All right, Mr. Foggy. Ms. Foggy,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, I take into consideration that you are a first offender. You have served now about 18 months on this sentence. And I will say that the victim in this case is doing well. She's a student in college in North Louisiana, and she's doing well. And she indicated that she is not allowed what you did to hold her back or impact her in any way. So I'm glad to hear that she's doing well. I'm going to grant, my vote is to grant conditional upon an approved residence plan prior to release. That's the law, but you've got to have an approved residence plan upon release, before release rather. And upon release, you're to enroll in and complete sex offender treatment. You to obtain and maintain full-time employment, and you are to abide by a 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew, and you are to have no contact with the victim or any members of her family. But I'm just one vote, Mr. Foggy, but that's my vote.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Mr. Freeman.
Mr. Foggy, I'm also going to vote to grant conditionally. You know, you can always put in for interstate compact, try to go to Texas. The gentleman said that he would take you, you know, right now. So maybe you might want to go and get out now and then put in for interstate compact, because it does take 60 to 90 days, or you can stay there and the probation officer can do the interstate compact and try to put a rush on it. But most of the time, Texas doesn't rush for Louisiana, from my past experience. So that I agree with Ms. Jackson, and I want the same conditions as Ms. Jackson also.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Mr. Foggy.
Yes, sir.
You're 23 years old. You have your whole life ahead of you. I'm gonna be upfront with you and be very honest. I'm going to deny your request. And we'll tell you why I'm going to deny your request. You have a poor supervision history. You had a chance, you were out, you were on supervision, and you didn't comply, and you absconded to Texas without permission. I think it was over a year. You didn't notify your parole officer, you didn't notify anyone. You absconded. You've expressed opposition from the judge, the DA's office, and law enforcement. You have pending charges in Franklin Parish for failure to register as a sex offender. You have a lack of rehabilitative programming. You've taken maybe 1 or 2 classes, but you've not taken sex offender treatment. And you have a moderate risk assessment, which tells me that you have a moderate chance of reoffending. With all of that against you, I cannot vote to release you simply because you don't have the programming, you have opposition, you have very poor supervision, and you have a tenuous transition plan. For all those reasons I just articulated, I'm going to deny your request. Based upon your offense, a sex offense, and based upon your medium risk assessment, your request for early release has been denied. You have a good day. We're going to stand adjourned at Washington Parish Detention Center. It is 12:25 p.m. Thank you, Washington.